zbliżać Polskę do socjalizmu. To święty obowiązek każdego członka partii.
Dear comrade, I am going to talk about the great Polish communist Rosa Luxemburg. This is my first lecture in English, so at the beginning I will say a few words about myself. My name is Comrade Michael and I am the first Polish Marxist repressed in capitalist Poland for the so-called propaganda of the totalitarian regime. All Polish political elites are united in the idea of anti-communism. Communism is officially banned by the Polish constitution and communists are regularly harassed and repressed. I will discuss the historical Polish anti-communism in another video in the future. And this video I have already mentioned is about Rosa Luxemburg, who, just like me, was a political immigrant. So, as I said, I am a political immigrant who has been living in France for 6 years now. I am a physical worker. I worked on removal of asbestos on a disc cloth in a pizzeria, and for 4 years I have been working in a large cold store near Paris at minus 25 degrees Celsius. I am a worker and I am proud of it. I have little contact with French communist movement, which unfortunately disappoint me very much. Well, most French Marxists have only theoretical contact with the working class, and they themselves are living from various petty bourgeois works. I am a Marxist, and like Marx, I think that living shapes consciousness. Today, after a few years spent in France, I am critical of all West Marxism. I regret to say that the petty bourgeois social base means petty bourgeois politics. I can observe this kind of deviations every day in France, but unfortunately, thanks to internet, I discovered that it is a disease that affects the entire Western world. I decided to make this video in English because it is a language understood almost everywhere in the world. At this point, I would like to quickly present two political perversions of Polish Marxists. The first deviation concerns Polish Trotskyists, who miserably copy and stupidity invented by Trotskyists from England or France. I can say that the Polish Trotskyists mostly have a colonial mentality and they think that the only thing that can be done it is to translate the thoughts of some Trotskyist apparatchik from the headquarters in London. This is what the theoretical activity of Trotskyists associated with SWP, Cliffites, CWI, Tafist, MTM, Legrandist, and Polish Spartakist, International Communist League, looks like in a nutshell. I mean that they only use their knowledge of English to translate pseudo-Marxism from the West. On the other hand, we have environments inspired by Stalinism. From my perspective, these are not real Stalinists, but I will develop this topic in some other video. In reaction to the colonial character of Polish Trotskyism and its pathetic decal, Polish pseudo-Stalinists seeks out some Polish way to socialism, just like Piłsudski or Gomułka before. They reject internationalism in practice and create a theory about some Polish uniqueness. This is to say that Polish Marxism is dominated by two ill-conceived concepts. Trotskyists do not want to think on their own and are satisfied on tracing patterns from the West, and the pseudo-Stalinists create their own truth without any result for Marxism. My activity is aimed at overcoming this intellectual infertility of Polish Marxism. I have been running a YouTube channel for over a year now, where you can find over 450 videos in Polish promoting communism. You can find my lectures, my conversation with other Polish Marxists, Marxist audiobooks, and many other interesting things. 450 films are quite a lot, and it is an archive comparable with the other Marxian channel in English. Unfortunately, the Marxist channel in Polish has its limits. The communist movement in Poland is weak, and that is why my channel has very few viewers, and this is the main reason that pushed me to make videos in English. First, I would like to apologize the native English speakers for the level of my language. I am a Polish worker who has lived in France for 6 years, and I have no contact with English on a daily basis. So please be understanding and do not hesitate if you want to correct my English. This video will refer to Rosa Luxemburg, who is known in the world for her political and theoretical activities in Germany. Rosa Luxemburg was the mother of the German Communist Party, and in German, Luxemburg issued her theoretical opus magnum, Accumulation of Capital. Rosa Luxemburg, like me, learned the foreign language to promote Marxism. Rosa Luxemburg, like me, didn't feel inferior to the leaders of the German socialist movement, as proved by her work Social Reform or Revolution. English is only a tool for me, which I hope will help me to reach a wider audience. Rosa Luxemburg and Joseph Stalin did the same thing. But this is a much older way that has already been used by the Apostle St. Paul and other Jewish Christians who began to teach Christianity in Latin. I found channels in English such as Proletarian TV and Finnish Bolshevik, but unfortunately English language Marxism is dominated by different forms of anti-Sovietism. It makes me laugh to watch the videos of British or American pseudo-Marxists who spit on the USSR at every step. It does not bother them that there has never been a victorious socialist revolution in the Western countries, and they have never achieved anything politically. In addition to that, many Western Trotskyists present a geopolitical program similar to NATO imperialism, such as the criticism of Gaddafi when NATO countries were bombing Libya. This, however, is a topic that I will develop in another video. I want to apologize to you for this long introduction. You were expecting a video about Rosa Luxemburg, and so far there has not been much said about her. And I would like to warn you that there will not be much more. If you want to learn her biography, you need to look for it in Wikipedia. On my channel we are preparing an online conference devoted to Rosa Luxemburg on the occasion of the soon-to-be in January 2019 anniversary of her murder by the German Social Democrats. On this occasion we mobilize forces and record audiobooks. Soon there will be monographic videos about Rosa Luxemburg. I would like to encourage you by this video to create similar materials. We communists are accused of the worst every hour, every minute, even every minute. All the time bourgeois media repeat like a mantra about millions of victims of communism. The online conference devoted to Rosa Luxemburg prepared by us is of course intended to present the political and theoretical achievements of the famous Polish communists. But we also want to overthrow the lies about the criminality of communists. We want to remind the world that in thousands of years of class struggle, the violence is mainly used by exploiters. This was the case of the time of the Spartacus uprising in ancient Rome. So it was during the Paris Commune, and in the end it was the tragic fate of Rosa Luxemburg, who was brutally murdered, her body desecrated and thrown into the river. Rosa Luxemburg is one of the most famous Polish women in the world. All Marxists and feminists in the world have heard about her. I think I can say that some of quotas by Rosa Luxemburg have entered permanently into the civilizational achievements of the men such as Marx and Socrates have. Unfortunately, the Polish government is not only not proud of it, but what's more, because of the anti-communist hysteria in Poland organized by the so-called the Institute of the National Remembrance, the one streets of Rosa Luxemburg are being renamed all over Poland. A few months ago, a memory board dedicated to Rosa Luxemburg was removed from her home in Zamość. Her old house was the destination of many international trips. Chinese students studying the theoretical achievements of Rosa Luxemburg were coming to Zamość to see the house in which Rosa Luxemburg was born. All that to say that you cannot count on the possibility of organizing such conference in Poland, at least not by real communists. The irony of fate is that Rosa Luxemburg is today the idol of Polish Social Democrats financed by the foundation of Rosa Luxemburg. Social Democrats are aroused at the sight of several quotes in which Rosa Luxemburg criticizes Lenin and the Bolshevik Party. And this is how they try to deceive the Polish masses by selling them a fairy tale that Rosa Luxemburg was not a communist, only a social democrat or feminist at best. This is of course a lie that we will unmask on the Konrad Michael channel, because our enemy is of course the bourgeois gouvernement and the anti-communist inquisitors from the Institute of the National Remembrance. But our enemy is also all pseudo-writers and pseudo-leftists who use their anti-Sovietism in order to manipulate people and spit on the communist and revolutionary achievements of Rosa Luxemburg. Our conference dedicated to Rosa Luxemburg will simply be the next stage in the struggle for revival of genuine Marxism and the revival of the Polish communist movement. To do this, we will focus especially on Rosa Luxemburg's fight with opportunism and reformism. We will also remind Rosa Luxemburg's battle with the so-called anti-Soviet Marxism and with the Marxist renegades spitting on the October Revolution with Karol Kautsky at the front. There are unfortunately many Marxist renegades on YouTube, and from my perspective, Trotskyism is simply a modern Kautskism. That will be all for today. The Comrade Michael channel is updated daily, and I will continue to record mainly in Polish. But especially for you, English-speaking comrades, I will create a new playlist on the channel, and I will try to record something in English once every 2 weeks. I'm counting for fruitful discussion and political cooperation with all real communists. Communist greetings from France, from Polish worker.